Hi and welcome to the Move to Nurture Pilates studio. I'm Bridget and I want to help you today with my one single thing that helps with back pain. Pilates talks a lot about alignment and that's what I'm going to talk about today. We think about alignment between our hips and our ribs, and being aware of this in your own body is a great way to prevent back pain or to help yourself deal with an episode of back pain once it's sprung up. I'm going to just turn side on so you can see the alignment that I'm talking about. We want to be mindful of the position of your hips and in relation to the position of your ribs. So my pelvis and my hips can either tip forward. So the line, I'm going to show you the line of my shirt, sort of tips on an angle and my tailbone is lifted. In this position, my lower back is shortened and I can get quite tight through the back. So we'll just lengthen the lower back there and bring the pelvis back to neutral. Now, if this is the position you're living in, there are reasons why your pelvis is in that position. So one of those reasons might be that your quads at the front of your legs are really tight, and by lengthening those you allow your tailbone to drop and your pelvis to come back to neutral. Another reason may be some of the deeper muscles, your psoas, might be very tight and pulling you into what we call an anterior pelvic tilt. Other positions that can be not so helpful is a posterior pelvic tilt, where we tend to tuck the pelvis under and those the bowl of the pelvis then rolls back. This makes very tight glutes. It can result in sort of a slipping of the tailbone because the pelvic floor gets so tight. We tend to really hang off the hip flexors and lean forward into our feet when we're in this position. So bringing the pelvis back to neutral, if you think about this tucked under position, we want to lengthen the glutes, stretch the glutes, stretch potentially the hamstrings to allow your pelvis to come back to neutral. So that's the sort of bottom half of our torso, if you like. Now let's bring our attention to the top half, to your rib cage. So equally, the position of our ribs can really determine whether we're going to have back trouble. We want our ribs to sit evenly on top of our hips. If your rib cage tends to be thrust forward like this, and some of us were really taught this as good posture, shoulders back, chest out, this can result in mid-back tightness, lower back pain, and upper back tightness. It also can make breathing quite laborious and difficult because your rib cage really can't move once it's thrust out here. Another very common pattern is more of a rounded shoulder, which tends to go with the tucked pelvis. You can see my body going into that. And this is the sinking of the sternum or the breastbone in towards the body. And here the ribs kind of angle down towards the hips. This puts a lot of pressure on the pelvic floor, opens the back up to all sorts of strain and pain, and also makes breathing well very difficult. Lifting the chest without thrusting it forward is going to be the focus if that is your pattern. So thinking about these 4 points is a really great way to hold awareness throughout your day about your posture, your breathing, and how that might impact on regular back pain. I like to just put my thumbs down at the bottom of my rib cage and my pinkies on my bony bits at the front of my hips. So we've all got these hip points, ASISs, at the front, and we want to put our pinkies on there, or whatever, your middle finger if that's easier. Put your thumbs on the base of your rib cage. And from there, you can just do a little check-in. Where am I? Are my ribs forward? Are my ribs sort of thrusting forward? Where's my pelvis? Is it behind my ribs? Is it directly under my ribs? Is it in front of my ribs? So with these little bony landmarks, the base of your ribs, the ASIS is at the front of your hips, you can start to feel what the alignment of your body is, and you can start to self-correct. Always gently, always with mindful awareness, not sort of pushing into discomfort or pain, but just gently. If you find yourself getting a tight mid-back, checking in, oh, okay, my ribs are a little bit forward of my hips here. Can I just nestle the rib cage back to be in line at the front? I'd love to hear how you experiment with this in your everyday. It is one of the very simple ways to be mindful about how your everyday alignment, your everyday positioning can be causing you discomfort, tightness and pain. It's also a very foundation principle of Pilates, this alignment of the torso, the ribs and hips, to allow the optimal functioning of our core muscles. To be able to strengthen our core, we need the ribs and the hips in alignment. And you can start working on this right now before you even get to a Pilates class. This is something that can help you to set the foundation for your core strength and to alleviate back tightness. Do let me know how you go with it. I'd love to hear what you discover, any questions you have. And this is a very simple way to move to nurture yourself today.